Good morning. I am going to talk today about our cycling that we've done, loving to ride our bikes. This is two things I want to talk about that happened back in 2018 and 2019. And we think we did a third year, but we're not really sure about that. But these are CNC rides. That is abbreviation for Cycle North Carolina, put on by North Carolina and many other sponsors they have. And they do three rides a year. They do the coastal rides, the mountain rides, and then they do the mountains to the coastal rides. And you can do pieces of each one of these trips each year, however you want to do it. So the coastal ride is a 3-day weekend, as the mountain ride is, but the longer ride is 5 days, maybe 6 or even more, where they ride from the mountains to the coast, but you can do separate pieces of it. Certain days you can ride as far as you want to ride each day, and that's what we did with the coastal ride. So the first one that I want to talk about today was in April of 2018, and we were in Little Washington, North Carolina. And CNC selects coastal cities that are quaint and have lots of good riding. They're more on the flat side, and they always have interesting things to do in the evenings. They have a group dinner, and it's always somewhere along the river or along the water for the coastal ride. So the coastal ride that Robert and I did in 2018, for that 3 days that we were riding, it was 131.5 miles. But that was divided up into a lot of little rides over a 3-day period. So you can get there on Thursday night, and then you can ride Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then you check out Sunday afternoon. If you have your own camper, you can bring your own camping. You can stay in a hotel, or you can camp in their campground areas that they have designated. But we don't camp outside, and we don't have tents, and we didn't want to spend the money for a hotel when there is a cost with all this. So we ended up doing indoor camping. So I'm not sure if this one was this was in some of the buildings that were the community buildings, like part of the town, and you just go to a room wherever they have open and set up your air mattress and set up what you need, and you just stay indoors and camp among other people. They always have good facilities, and it's not where you are losing much privacy at all. In fact, the first time that we did one of these, and probably the second time we did one of these, it was riding during the day, and we never stayed up late to do any of the we did a dinner, but not for any of the late night activities. We'd usually crawl into bed about 7:30 in the evening so we could get up in the morning to do our riding. So I have to figure out what those days were that were divided up over that 131 days. And I thought I had that written down, but I guess I don't. The coastal rides are, as I said, are sponsored by CNC, what I know them as CNC, and I guess that's their logo now is Cycle North Carolina, and I saw they changed their website. So the website to check into this is actually North Carolina Sports. So it's www.ncc.org. ncsports.org, and you can find out information about all these different ones. So they have different kind of routes each day. Some days they uh, they are different each day. So on the first day on Friday, there might be a 5-mile ride, a 10-mile ride, a 25-mile ride, a 50-mile, or an 80-mile ride. So you can pick the choices of whatever distance you want to go. Along the way, they have stops and refreshments, so it is a very well planned out ride. We just loved doing it back in 2018, where we got so many miles in on the same day. That added up to that total of 131. So we might go out on just a 20-mile ride to get warmed up, and then take a break or stop at one of the refreshment places, and then go back to the starting point and find another route that would go like another 25-30 miles, and you see different scenery. And then the next day, after Friday, you get up Saturday morning, and they've already marked out new routes. So you could do a second 25-mile route, but it would be different roads. So they really put a lot of time and effort into this, and we enjoyed it immensely. So we have a lot of pictures on our Facebook page, that, at least my Facebook page and Robert's, of our cycling and cycling across some of the bridges in the waterways or over the river, and some of the beautiful historic sites that we stop along the trail. And as I said, you're on the coast, so it's really fairly flat. So that was the year we did it at Little Washington, North Carolina. Then the next year, in 2019, it was held at Edenton. It's the same situation where you go on Thursday night and get your camping spot. The 2019, the year we went there, they were in the Edenton High School. So we camped out with our queen-sized air mattress, which we set up in the high school gym. And then, of course, you had the high school lockers and the locker rooms and the showers and everything you needed. And I think one year we were there, they had a trailer that had several showers in, that you could have showers whenever you needed to come back, and they were open all day too. So the second trip I'm talking about was in Edenton. That was April 29th, 30th, and May 1st of 2019. And shortly after that, I think, is when I was signed up to do a triathlon, and that's when I was doing more biking, more cycling, and I ran into a problem with the group cycle because somebody stopped in front of me on a hill, and I wasn't prepared to stop as quickly on that uphill when I was trying to get up the hill with the group. The lady in front of me stopped, and I actually fell over and broke my ankle, and that was May of 19 that I broke my ankle. So I didn't ride for a while. But I finished that ride. Wasn't black and blue or didn't look bad, so I just finished the ride even though it was kind of hurt. And I think I didn't go to the doctor until about 3 weeks later and had it x-rayed, and he says, yeah, it's broken, but it was healed and it's perfectly fine. So it may have been a good thing that I kept going, because it didn't get out of place or anything, because I kept putting the pressure on having the bone fit back together. So anyways, I don't really have the mileage that we did in 2019, but we did stay in the Eden High School. They also have mechanics come, bike people are there, so if you have problems with your bike, you can buy equipment or get your tire fixed or whatever might needed done. But we were very fortunate in all the riding that we did. And we loved the fact that they changed the routes every day. So when we went in 2019, being a different town in Edenton, but still very old, very quaint, very historical, lovely places to ride. And I'm sure we got in at least 100 miles that year, maybe even more. I'm not sure why I don't have the statistics, which I thought I wrote down for this, that were the separate days that we did each day. So we would start out on a Friday and maybe do about 30 miles, and then we would walk around or have the entertainment and have dinner. And one evening of each of the times, I usually think it was Saturday night, they had a group meal for everybody, which was included in what your payment was, and your payment covered them doing all the routes for you, providing all the information that you needed, a group dinner, and plus the indoor camping was included, or outdoor camping, or whatever you wanted to do for the overnights. So we usually did a medium short ride on Fridays and then do the longest ride on Saturdays and get in as many miles on many different trips as possible. And sometimes we'd be with the group and sometimes we'd be separate. Everybody just went at their own pace, and when they stopped at the rest stops, you stop and go at your own pace. And you end up visiting with a lot of interesting people, and sometimes you meet people you know from other cycling groups. Our other cycling groups included the Greensboro Performance was the name of the cycling company there. So Performance Cycling Company is where we bought our bikes and rode with them, and they rode every Saturday in Greensboro, North Carolina, which was wonderful too. We loved that in addition to the coastal rides. So the coastal rides were new territory, and sometimes the performance weekend rides would be different trails and different speeds and different groups, so you could meet up with the group that wanted to go at your pace. So my pace was never really fast. Even when I was doing triathlons, I would be happy with anywhere from 11 to 13 miles per hour average. And sometimes if you're doing rides with groups, when you have to stop and cross the roads or wait at red lights, you lose some of your time. But I still counted only my moving ride in my time. So anyways, that was a lot of biking. I talked about the biking that we did when we were younger and had no idea that we would spend so much time once we moved to North Carolina, that we would be biking so much in North Carolina. And actually, I would say oh goodness, from 16, when I started riding, up to 19, we did thousands of miles because we would ride every Saturday in addition to these coastal rides, and in addition till the Bobby Labonte, woo, that's trouble with my words today, charity rides that we did. We did 2 of those in Greensboro. Did a lot of riding in Winston-Salem. But Greensboro had lots and lots of trails that we went out with the performance group leaders every weekend. Not knowing back in the day when we were riding in Pennsylvania that we would make such a entertainment and career opportunity of cycling all the time. But once we moved to Tennessee, that was a big change in riding our bikes, because there weren't so many greenways. The greenway here in Cleveland, where we live now, is you can get in only 10 miles if you ride the whole thing up and back. And they did open some more greenways for riding. And then we did do some out of Black Fox Elementary School where we did some riding on some rural roads in the back of Tennessee, but most of Tennessee roads don't have much of a shoulder. They usually have the road, the white line, and then unfortunately there's a ditch, so you don't even get places where you can pull over very often when you're riding on the roads unless you're really riding the country roads. So we tried to get some group rides going there, and we did ride, but never with the bike shop. And we did it with the New Adventures Club, trying to get some biking go. But that was never a really big success, and it wasn't anything like the cycling we did in North Carolina, because it was so much popular there, especially when the Performance bike shop was still in operation, but they eventually closed. So things changed when the Performance bike closed, and things changed when we moved to Tennessee. I guess I should tell you what bikes I'm riding. My original bike was a Fuji metal bike, and I started that with my first couple triathlons, but then I moved to oh gosh, what's her name? It's a name, Mary something. My name of that bike was a carbon bike, which everybody really loved because it was a really pretty color of turquoise blue. My first one was white. So anyways, that's the story of cycling in North Carolina. There's probably a lot more to that, but I'll end it for now. But this is like part 2 of the biking, only it was in North Carolina. And if you're really interested in cycling in North Carolina, make sure you do check out all the opportunities they have there with the Greenway. Since the Performance bike shop's not there anymore, I'm sure some of the other bike shops have taken up doing some riding. And as I said, there's a lot of charity rides that different groups do. Again, maybe you can take it as far or as little as you want. And then there's lots of charity 5Ks that I've done, even after I stopped doing triathlons on a regular basis. Signing off for today. That's part 2 of all the biking that I've done on my bicycle. I need to say cycling is what I try and call it so people know it is on a bicycle. Thanks for listening.